the right ones in.
Good movie.
The
original. The original.
the airs on it, that's the circulating.
I mean, no pressure, but start over.
Moved over, so this is different.
It is different.
This is big change for I'll just keep going this way. All right. Yeah, right. You're fine.
Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos. B'ruchim Habayim. We're going to start with Ma Gadilu on page 646, talking about how great God's creation is. Page 646. With that nice, gentle start to our service, let's all take a nice, deep Shabbat breath in and out. Doing what we can to allow ourselves to be present, to let go of some of the weight of the week, some of the parts of the week that we might be holding on to that we can, even just for an hour or so, and just be here amongst this incredible Kehillah Kedoshah, this holy community. So let's take one more nice deep breath together. It's even an opportunity when we breathe like that. The word for breath, neshama, is related to your soul. And so as we breathe on Shabbat, I hope perhaps you can reconnect a little bit with the divine soul within you. So now to bring some sweet Shabbat light to us, We're going to turn to page 120, and it is an honor to invite up to the Bima in honor of their 50th wedding anniversary, Mazel tov, Mazel tov, Mazel tov. To just like to Jeff and Beth Brewer, so come on up. And our celebration of the Day of Rest continues on page 138 with Lecha Dodi as we welcome in Shabbat like a bride with that sense of joy, that sense of celebration, and maybe even of potential and promise.
Shine.
Shabbat Shalom. I live in Mass, and sort of like, I lived in Oregon.
Oh, this is great.
Oh, how wonderful. It's so nice to see everybody checking in with each other and introducing themselves. Let's stay standing, dear friends, and turn to page 144 for the Chatzi Kaddish. In this English piece. It's quite beautiful, and if you have any thoughts about it, I'd love to hear. Let's read together. There is one who sings the song of his own life, finding everything within himself. There is one who leaves the circle of herself and sings the song of her people. There is one whose voice rings with the song of humanity, hoping for the highest perfection. And there is one who rises even higher, uniting with all creatures, with all worlds, filling the universe with song. Nivarech, let us bless. Any thoughts? What do you think about that reading? Maybe even within yourself, you don't have to say it out loud, but where do you find yourself? And I'm sure we move between different layers that are spoken about, different levels at different times. But boy, what a goal to unite in some way, have our souls unite with all creatures, with all worlds, and to fill the universe with song. Let's go to page 150. V'ahavta. Selection from the Torah, which we, of course, we learned so many different mitzvot from, including the wearing of tefillin, including how we're supposed to go about learning and teaching children, teaching the next generation. But it also discusses putting the mezuzah up on the doorpost, right? An external, visible to the world sign that you're Jewish, and this is a Jewish home. And I find myself thinking about what happened in Germany this past week, where a government official warned the Jews of Germany not to wear kippot out in public. That they said, you know what, it seems too risky. And did anybody see what the response was? Yeah, that one of the papers printed a cutout kippah saying everybody should go and wear a kippah. So I just find myself thinking about, as we're aware of more and more anti-Semitism and more blatant hatred and intolerance that's being allowed to rise not just to the surface but above the surface. How do we feel about these external signs that we're Jewish? How have you been feeling? Have you felt any different? If you wear a Jewish star, if you have your mezuzah outside? Anyone want to speak to that? Yeah?
I tend to, instead of wearing them I tend to wear stuff that is only for the Jews, like this is the Shema. I know people look at that and they want to say it's Jewish, you know. So I wear my tie too, more than I wear my because I like the idea that I can control who.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's a less obvious Jewish symbol. And then, of course, I look at your beautiful tattoo, where you have the chai, also very visible. And so, but someone who's not Jewish might not necessarily look at that and recognize it as a Jewish symbol. That's very interesting. So it sounds like you're implying there is a little bit of fear or hesitation. Maybe a little bit. Anyone else want to speak to that? How have you been feeling? Yeah.
Well, Phil and I are going to go to Northern Europe in a few days, and I'm wearing my hamsa, not taken off, and I'm a little concerned about exposing it when I'm over there. So there is that hesitation.
Sure. Like, we're having exciting thoughts about things that we maybe haven't ever, or in decades, right? The Hamsa, what's interesting about the Hamsa, of course, is it is a multi-religious symbol. It's a symbol, it's an Arabic symbol, and a symbol in Islam as well. But no matter what, either way, we can feel a little risky right now. Anybody else want to speak to this? How it feels having external signs of being Jewish? Anyone feel pride? Anyone feel emboldened?
Just a side thought.
Please.
I noticed the sign is missing on 150. Is that council, or did that?
The sign is down.
Was
Yeah.
that down?
I think it's accidental.
It
I
happened,
think it fell
it
down.
happened in the windstorm, but Doug was gonna put it up, but for some reason we can't get it.
Yeah, because I know I saw a note, please put the sign back up.
Okay, I was
So-
wondering if it was that we weren't trying to bring any attention to ourselves on a main, and Cindy and I talked about that a couple times as we.
Sure.
The sign in the other direction is still there.
Okay, well, I'm gonna come from that direction.
We're just
We're
kind
actually
of,
on the mail map also.
yeah, but we're awful slow
Oh,
at
sure,
fixing
yeah, we're pretty
things.
obvious that we're here, right?
Yeah.
You know, and we actually, having just participated in the Memorial Day Parade for town, where Meg, of course, led her wonderful musicians with the elementary school so beautifully. And I had the privilege of speaking very publicly with the kippah on my head. We are not shying away as a congregation from having a public profile. But I'm glad you asked, because that,
Who just first?
you noted it, yes.
When we were in Israel, I noticed that the manifestations of being Jewish obviously are so much more clear and predominant, and yet you're not really totally safe there either against terrorism or other things. And I think you do have a sense that by representing who you are, although they make you feel a little insecure, it's important to do that.
Yeah, I agree. But even if it feels a little scary, this is also a time when we need to be proud of our Judaism, to look out for other Jews as well, but also to look for opportunities to teach others who aren't Jewish about why being Jewish is A, not threatening, B, we think it's pretty great, There's some neat things to learn, and we all can learn from each other. So I hope if things continue to get worse, which they may, God forbid, that we don't shy away from being Jewish publicly. Yes, Stephen.
I always look at both, try to look at both.
And I always
sides.
appreciate that from you.
So, it was recommended to people to wear kippah, and press came out and printed a cutout.
Right.
Wasn't that long ago that the Islamists were told they couldn't wear the habib and the burqa in France, Switzerland.
Sure.
Nobody said a word. Everyone accepted that this is the right thing to do. Where was the press saying, wait a minute, we know there's terrorism, but not everybody?
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's an interesting counterpoint. I have to wonder if it's something unique about Germany and Jews in history. But your point is well taken. Why aren't we taking care of other groups that are feeling particularly under attack or under suspicion, right?
In your own government, you have certain of Muslim persuasion wearing their usual, which you don't see Blumenthal with his kippah on.
True, I was gonna say, might not be his own personal,
Right, but anyway.
yeah, Joe Lieberman did, didn't he? Yeah, so we have had some. And we have others who, even if they don't wear ritual garb, are really obvious about their Judaism. Jerry Nadler, you can't run away from it, Chuck Schumer can't run away from it. Maybe it's the New York thing. But, it's a fair point, is we need to step up and look out for each other. So any other final thoughts? Well, thank you for, please.
Anti-Semitism is growing. In the Jewish Children's Museum in New York, there was a letter that said Hitler is coming. And the reaction of these people, they're afraid. I, on the other hand, am not afraid of being Jewish. I talk to my friends about it, I explain words, and I'm happy to be Jewish.
Wonderful. And I do want to validate, for those of you who are feeling more hesitant and more afraid, it's understandable. And you certainly don't ever need to put yourself in harm's way or do anything that feels dangerous to you. But when you do feel comfortable, being proud and being out about your Judaism, I hope you will. So thank you. And as we turn, the next moment in our service is the Mikamocha, which reminds us of a time when we experience redemption. And it reminds us to make sure that others are also allowed freedom. and they are redeemed. And so it's that reminder to keep working to make the world a better place in all of these different ways and more. So let's turn together to Michanova on page 158. La Pray as if everything depended on God. Act as if everything depended on you. Page 164, the start of the tefillah. Please rise. Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos. Bruchim Habayim again. Welcome. We all have so many different reasons for coming to Shabbat services each week. Some of us, it's just how we build our week. This is just part of what we do. Some are here praying for someone who's ill. Some are here marking the anniversary of a loss of a family member or friend. Some are here seeking reconnection, calm, peace, comfort. And others come just to be amongst the community. You may have a reason I haven't even mentioned, but all of them are important. And all of them are legitimate and valid reasons to come and be here together. And I hope at some point in the service, even at least once, there was something that, I don't know, sparked something in you. Maybe a piece of music, maybe a comment, maybe a reading in the prayer book. I hope there was even just one moment where you felt, we're ooh. So I'm so appreciative that you're all here and that you're helping us to create those kinds of moments and that kind of feeling here in the room. Let's take a moment to send prayers for a refuah shlema, a complete, a whole, a peaceful healing to family members and friends of our community. Tonight we are sending our healing prayers to Reagan Konecki, John D. Nicola, Nancy Schwam, Miriam Swidler, Larry Mancini, Charles Savitt, Burl Bellows, Carrie Bellows, Cindy Rishal, Dovie Ben Mayer, Arthur Myers, Iris Clark, Stacy Reed, Debbie Clymer, Nan Kraszewski, Daphne Rosenberg, Heather Waters, Joyce Giuseppe, Savannah Johnson, Ronnie Burson-Weiner, Lenore Lesser, Jimmy and Brogno, Donald Hoffman, and Denise Davies. Who else are you thinking of or praying for tonight and whose name you'd like to share aloud?
Paul Von Essen.
Dan Leopold and Darren Ness.
Susan Alexander and Peg O'Brien. Lawrence Alexander.
Fine cover, whatever, bottom
Rose Van Wedding and
Tracy Johnson.
Mishaberach Avotenu Abraham Yitzchak Yaakov Imotenu Sarah Kal Leah Rachel Yivarech V'Yarapeh et Kol Hacholim Ha'ela. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, and Rachel, bless us. Bless us with healing. Bless our loved ones with healing of mind, of body, and spirit. May all who are suffering, may all who are struggling, may all who are without a sense of wholeness or peace tonight be given even just a little more comfort, a little more solace. And may they find themselves on the road to healing and to wellness. Baruch atah Adonai Rofeh HaCholim. We praise you, God, who cares for the sick. And let us say together.
Amen.
So this is a melody that we haven't done on Shaderach, that we haven't done in a while. We've done it, and you may not know it. If you don't know it, one of the things I like about this melody is that there's something about it that helps stay connected to those that we just named, that we've just been thinking of. So that if you don't know the melody, I hope that the melody then can still help you stay connected to those who are in your hearts tonight.
Is
And we have people in our lives who have healed, who are well on their road to recovery, who have recovered from illness, injury, who have traveled far away and have come back home safely, and those who have escaped danger in any way. And so on behalf of those in our lives who have experienced those incredible gifts, which we never take for granted, we praise you, God, who makes good things happen in the world around us, and let us all stay together. Amen. And we have smachot, simchas, happy occasions to celebrate. Who has something going on? A birthday, anniversary, a significant moment in your life? Yes, Jeff?
My mom was 96 when we said.
Wow, Ronnie, that's a man. And Kenahora. That's incredible. 96. Well, I may have Esri until 120. Yes, exactly. You got an Hebrew and an Yiddish, so you got double blessing there. So please send along our good wishes. And happy 50th anniversary to you both. So it's next week?
It's Thursday.
6th of June.
That's very exciting.
And Bob Zemmel conveniently planned a wine dinner for the 4th, so we're going in.
Oh, is that wonderful? What a great way to celebrate. That's great. Yay.
Can you say a prayer? Jackie and Lou and Lindsay and Trip are moving the end of this next week.
Oh my goodness, already.
I know.
Yeah, we do have going away prayers, and I'll have to send her the text of one so that we can send our good wishes for this new chapter. I know they will be back to visit.
Yeah.
Because they're in our hearts, so exciting and sad. Who else? Yes.
Our daughter Melissa Rochelle just got married last month,
Mazel tov.
April 13th, so we're very happy about
Still
that.
enjoying all the wedding
She's
sparkles.
still on the cloud. She misses all the planning, believe it or not.
That's so
Leading up to
interesting.
the wedding. She misses that, yeah.
It's like rehearsing for a play for so long, and the play's
Right,
over, and you're like,
right.
yeah, what do I do? Well, hopefully they're finding lots of wonderful things to do together as
They
a
are.
newlywed couple.
Yes,
So
they are.
lots of continued mazel tovs to that. Wonderful. No. All right, it's okay. Thank you for sharing these wonderful. Yeah, Beth, what else?
Okay, well, we're going on a trip in 2 weeks. This is what we hear for a while. But our kids planned a trip to take us to Calgary and Banff.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, and Jonathan and Noel are coming from Singapore, and Zach and Ben and Stephanie are coming from Oakland.
Good, so you'll all be together, go on this wonderful trip. Safe travels and see out to God. We can't wait to hear about it when we get back. Great. Well, thank you everybody for sharing these moments of goodness and joy and celebration in your lives with us as well. It helps us support each other through the challenges as well as elevate the levels of joy when we can share in the community as well. So this week's Torah portion, the Chukotai, is finally the last Torah portion in the book of Leviticus. For those of us who study Torah weekly, Leviticus is, always a little bit of a struggle. Though there's so much, there's wonderful material in Leviticus, but there's so many parts that are challenging for us. There's no narrative or very little, the laws are, so many of them are related to the tabernacle, to the Levites, to the priests, to those sacrificial rituals that, of course, we don't observe anymore. And so there's always this little sense of relief when we get to the end of Leviticus. So the opening verse of the portion this week serves as a bit of an epilogue to the book as a whole. Im b'chukotai telechu ve'et mitzvotai tishmeru va'asitem otam. If you follow my laws and faithfully observe my commandments. And then it goes on to tell us all the good things that will happen. Okay? Now that you've had this whole entire book of lots of laws and commandments, here's what happens if you follow all of these things. God addresses the Israelites who are about to enter the promised land, assuring them of great rewards if they follow God's commandments, and threatening them with severe punishments if they disobey. In this portion, as well as in the blessings and the curses that are found towards the end of Deuteronomy, we call both of them the blessings and curses, these lists. The curses greatly outnumber the blessings, most likely to frighten the listener into obedience through the threat of divine enforcement. Dun, dun, dun. The blessings that will be bestowed if people follow God's laws include peace, prosperity, safety from wild beasts, and victory over their enemies. God will uphold the covenant and reside in Israel's midst, ensuring that the people will flourish and prosper and be free from oppression. Now, in contrast, the curses are a lot more detailed. Most contain images of an angry, vengeful God, such as, if you disobey me and remain hostile to me, I will act against you in wrathful hostility. I, for my part, will discipline you sevenfold for your sins. And thus, a very clear-cut system of reward and punishment is set forth. If we follow God's laws, all will be good. If we choose to go astray, we'll be punished in myriad creative ways. So pretty clear, right? As progressive Jews, Reform Jews, Jews who don't necessarily follow all the mitzvot, we might have a number of problems with a text like this. In fact, the problem begins not just with the blessings and the curses, but back at this very first line of the portion. If you follow my laws and faithfully observe my commandments. So what does this mean? What does it even mean to follow? The Hebrew gives us a little bit of a clue. Follow is really a loose translation. It's not totally accurate. The Hebrew is telechu. Anybody know what the shoresh is, what the root of telechu is? Do you know the word holech or lalechet? It's to walk. To walk. So it comes from the root words hey lamed kaf, to go or to walk. And this root leads to the term halacha, which is the word used for Jewish law, halacha. And it means the path, the walking path. Which way to go in order to satisfy what God wants from us. And yet, interestingly, as Reform Jews, for those of us who identify as such, it's always been a core ideology that we don't feel bound by halacha. We study them, we choose which of the Jewish laws or rituals that we want to observe, but we don't feel like we have to follow all of them. It's an extensive and complicated tradition of written and oral law that we view through the lens of informed choice. That's one of our well-used phrases. The act of studying and debating the law and the tradition, and then coming to our own individual conclusions about what's meaningful to us in our modern lives. In making an informed choice, we often consider what we see as the spirit of the law, and not necessarily the letter of the law. So, for example, when a prospective convert to Judaism once asked me how to begin celebrating Shabbat, I asked her, what is something special that you don't get to do the whole rest of the week? That is what you should do on Shabbat. Whether it's reading, or knitting, or painting, or visiting a museum, or spending time in the park, whatever else is meaningful to you. And these may not fit the halachic restrictions for what you may or may not do on Shabbat. But the spirit of Shabbat is that it is distinct and special and set apart from the rest of the week. So if, as Reformed Jews, we choose not to believe in this reward and punishment system put forth in a parsha like this, in a portion like this, the question then becomes a little complicated. What then is our motivation to do anything Jewish? Right? Then is it just a free-for-all? You know, plenty of people, it's certainly the stereotype of Reform Judaism that, oh, we're Reformed, we don't have to do anything. Right? So without the threat of punishment, how do we choose to be involved or observant on any level? And then in a deeper sense, how do we explore the parts of Judaism that go beyond the intellectual, the rational, and allow ourselves to entertain something more spiritual? In addressing this question, Rabbi Myra Sofer suggests a different way of looking at the first verse of this portion, and I love this. She writes, I've decided that as a Reformed Jew, walking, right, telechu, in God's laws is not for me. I'd rather dance them. Dancing is a whole other way of being in the world than is my usual mode mode of movement through life. While I live pretty rationally, I dance best when I'm least cerebral. I'm not too bad at memorizing Torah and Talmud, but learning dance steps uses a whole different sort of memory altogether. It's muscle memory, body memory, a kind of memory that goes much deeper and far beyond the scope of my intellect. So perhaps I'd be better to follow God's laws with dance than with walk. I can put my whole body into it and enjoy the dance without thinking every step to death. Which of the mitzvot that my brain rejects might my dancing parts relish? My greatest challenge in ballroom dance has been learning to follow. I'm the sort, after all, who's very much used to being in control, as many of us, I'm sure are. So she continues, I generally trust my own abilities much more easily than I trust the competency of my partners, which may explain why I'm not so great at picking up the cues of their leads. So it took me a while to get the hang of following. And it took at least as long to understand that as the dance partner who follows, I have an important job too. I'm not just a lump being dragged around the dance floor. I need to know the steps and participate. I'm just not in the driver's seat. And I've come to understand that this following is a real blessing. Trusting someone else who knows the steps and how to make it all work is a huge part of my joy as I whirl around the dance floor. She continues with one more paragraph. Finally, there's something in dance called frame. Frame is the way the partners hold their bodies as their feet execute the steps. I always picture Patrick Swayze and, oh my God, what's her name? Jennifer Grey. You know, this is my dance space, this is your dance space, let's cha-cha. So the frame, right? No standing arms. So the frame needs to be firm without being tense. To limp a frame, maybe we Reform Jews at our worst. And it's impossible to follow or lead. Neither partner has any clear direction. To tense a frame, those rigid traditionalists perhaps, and the dancing becomes painfully stilted. God's laws and commandments are surely the frame of our Jewish dance. So interesting to think about. Dancing the mitzvot. Letting go, in a way. And therefore engaging our Judaism on a level other than intellectual, which is where so many of us are much more comfortable. Something deeper, something both simpler and more complex might be possible. Now, unfortunately, anyone who's a dancer knows, or anyone who's trying to be a dancer knows, dancing requires more effort and energy on our part. It won't tell us how to do something, which the structure of halakha does do. We're left to figure it out, to feel it out on our own, using feeling as our compass. We don't necessarily know the path itself, but dancing can orient us along the way. Some dances might keep us anchored in one place. Others will propel us forward along our life's path. Some dances will be with a partner or with a group. Others will be alone. And yet, no matter what, we will be dancing. And I know, deep in my soul, that this is what God wants from us. To be engaged, to be focused, and to allow ourselves to try out the dance. To feel joy and fulfillment in being Jewish and living Jewishly. So I pray, may we each be open to finding even just a little bit of that joy and fulfillment in the dance. May we each encounter some of the sweetness of Judaism and a deeper connection with God and tradition. And may we find comfort and community as part of this wonderful people and heritage. King Yiratzon, may this be God's will. Amen. Amen. Time for announcements. So we have a lot, okay? It's a very good page of announcements, okay? So I almost want to encourage you to take notes, but luckily it's all available in your emails, it's on the website, it's on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. If you miss one of these, you can check, or you can always give me a call too. So this Sunday, two very important and meaningful events are taking place at 11 a.m. The new section that has been built at Fountain Hill Cemetery for the CBSRZ community is being sanctified and consecrated. And so if that's something that's meaningful for you, I invite you to that at 11 o'clock at the CBSRZ section in Fountain Hill. Then at 4 o'clock, we have books and bagels and borscht, where we'll be, you're making a face about the borscht?
Yes.
I had a similar reaction. There will be other food available. There will actually be the aforementioned bagels, and there will be some other delicious food. But more importantly, our congregant Larry Bloom will be speaking about his brand new book on Solowit called Solowit, A Life of Ideas, where of course we celebrate Solowit every time we're in our beautiful building, and we will get to hear some more of the behind the scenes stories and anecdotes from Larry. So that's 4 o'clock. Please note there is no coffee hour with Rabbi Bellows this coming Tuesday. It will resume the following week, but I hope you will join us. You're all always invited, 10 a.m. on Tuesdays at Simon's Coffee House, to just come and chat, have a coffee. Friday night, next Friday night, are you ready for this? It's Campfire Shabbat. So at 6:30 p.m. we're having a potluck dairy dinner. We hope you'll all come and bring something and enjoy being together. And then at 7:30, weather permitting, we hope to go outside. We have a fire pit. And we want to have services outdoors in a really kind of campy feeling. If you have a camp shirt of any kind, come wear your camp shirt, show camp pride. And we'll just have a wonderful celebration. And as if that's not enough, we will be honoring our outgoing 12th graders. And so we'll be blessing them, presenting them with a gift from our community, and really just honoring all their years of devotion here. On Saturday the 8th, at 10:30 a.m., we have our Shabbat morning service and bat mitzvah of Danielle Williams, to which you are all always invited. And then Saturday night, the 8th, 7 p.m., we have our Tikkun Leil Shavuot Adult Learning Extravaganza. It's going to be incredible. We have 3 blocks of electives that are being offered of all different kinds, and so you will have a menu to choose from. There's text study, there's creative writing, there's art, there's drum circle, there's chant, there's mini choir, and so there's 3 blocks that you'll be able to choose within each one, and there's some things are offered more than once, so if you miss it in one block, you can take it in a different block. So there's a lot of really exciting stuff. Before and after, there's eating, there's schmoozing, there's dancing. So I hope you'll come and celebrate Shavuot, a night which celebrates Jewish learning, and come do some Jewish learning with us. 7 o'clock Saturday night, the 8th. The following morning, by the way, is our confirmation service. Our 10th graders are having their Makom confirmation service. Thursday night, the 13th. I told you this is long, so please bear with me. Thursday night, the 13th, 7 p.m. Very important, our congregational annual meeting and pizza party. So please come have some pizza, learn about what's been going on in the congregation. There's votes that need to take place on behalf of the community, and it's a nice way to check in and see what's going on behind the scenes that we don't always get to share very well, or just it doesn't come up. So please do come and come to that annual meeting. Saturday the 15th, 2 p.m., CBSRZ is participating in the very first Middletown Pride Parade. We're going to be marching, we're going to be handing out buttons that have the rainbow flag with a Jewish star on it. As I get RSVPs, I'm thinking of making t-shirts. So if you are interested in marching with us in the Middletown Pride Parade, please RSVP to me as soon as possible so I'll know who will be joining us. Bring your friends, it would be great to have you. Finally, Sunday the 23rd at 5 p.m., you want to say anything about the Puppenspielers?
The Puppenspielers, we have our traditional end-of-year picnic in spring, and we will be having our group back again this year, and we will be reprising some of the pieces that we did last year, including the ones that had us really dancing. And we are adding new repertoire, and the theme really that ties it together for us is just simply being Jewish. It's Jewish composers or lyricists, and we have Paul Simon, Burt Bacharach, Bob Dylan, Leonard Cohen, and more. So it's going to be really wonderful.
And that's a free community picnic open welcoming to everybody. There will be food available for a donation, which goes to our social action committee so that they can continue to do the good work that they do. So this is all just taking place in the next 2 weeks. It's a busy 2 weeks for the CBSRZ community. And thank you again, Jeff and Beth, for sponsoring tonight's Oneg in honor of your 50th wedding anniversary. May you be blessed with so many more in good health and joy. We're so excited to celebrate with you tonight. Any other announcements that we didn't get to cover? You're like, no, we're just glad you're done. Okay, so let's go to our concluding prayers. Page 586 in the middle of the page. Please rise. Page 592. When I die, give what's left of me away to children and old men that wait to die. And if you need to cry, cry for your brother walking the street beside you. And when you need me, put your arms around anyone and give them what you need to give me. I want to leave you something better than words or sounds. Look for me in the people I've known or loved. And if you cannot give me away, at least let me live in your eyes and not in your mind. You can love me best by letting hands touch hands and by letting go of children that need to be free. Love doesn't die. People do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away. Page 598. In just a moment, if you hear the name of a family member or friend on our Shabbat Shalom or Yortzeit list, and if you're comfortable doing so, you're invited to rise when you hear his or her name. This allows us to recognize your loss and offer you comfort. And then we will all rise to join you for the recitation of the Mourner's Kaddish. This Shabbat, we mark the recent passing of Bert Bruskin and Natalie Berman. We mark the Yortzeits, the anniversaries of death for Rose Banner, Sam Barron, Carmen Sensor, Rose Greenberg, Sam Harris, Gussie Kleinberg, Mitzi Krasner, Max Kurfürst, Mary Elgart Land, Evelyn Levine, Alfred Lewitt, Selma Myers, Samuel Michael, Morton Pepper, Harvey Redak, Albert George Sandberg, Marjorie Schneller DeWitz, Barney Smith, and Harvey Turpel. Zichronam livracha. Who else is marking Shiva Shoshim or your side of a family member or friend who would like to share a name out loud?
Joe Foles.
May all of their memories always be a precious blessing to all who knew and loved them. Together now we rise and we join in the words of Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. Yit gadal v'yit gadash shemei rabbah, v'alman yivarach v'yutei v'yamlich lachutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei t'chol beit Yisrael, v'agalav v'zman kariv v'yomru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah v'varach le'lam u'lamei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yit'ar v'yit'romam v'yit'naseh, Yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shnei kudisha b'richu, le'elam yikol birchata v'shirata, tushvachata v'nechemata, da'amiran v'yalma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlam rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom v'yiramav, Hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen.
Please be seated. We will conclude with words of praise with Hallelujah on page 218.
Hallelujah.
Nash. Okay, so page 570. I am ready, though I'm just a little late, to fulfill the Omer. Let's join together in the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sefirat ha'omer. Hayom shnayim v'arba'im yom shehem shisha shavuot la'omer. Today is the 42nd day, which is the 6th week of the Omer. Thank you so much for doing that with us. Shabbat Shalom.
Take your book. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. Thank you.
You have to think you were 30 years as a married now.
Oh, jeez. Having a few guys over here.
So, yeah, somebody was at an antique store and she found this picture. They have it in the house. 45. Yeah, yes. Well.
Come on in, everybody.
Yes.